Please like, share, and subscribe. This is the Done Deal Show, and we have so much to jump into. So much has happened in the last 24 hours as well. I've got the old chest there out. It's already 34 degrees where I am, so loving that bit of life. Thank you for all the support you're giving KJ as he's covering my live shows as I'm taking what I think is a bit of a well-earned break. So many stories to delve into, though, this morning. We're talking Danny Welbeck's Here We Go. We're looking at the situation with Bruno G that accelerated yesterday. Man United in the pursuit of not just selling Xerxes, but also buying a midfielder from another Premier League club. I'm not happy with this one, frustrated with this one if it's true, and will always condemn these kind of deals. There's that to go into. I want to touch on Vinicius Jr. as well today, as there was a big update regarding his potential future. We're talking Jordan Henderson on the show, plus Yandi Amande and Bradley Barcola as well. So a lot for us to go into, a lot for us to discuss, a lot for us to talk about today in relation to the transfer news. There's a lot been going on. And I know some of this you guys will have discussed with KJ on those shows, and some of it you'd discussed on other channels, but obviously I'm doing just these morning shows. The other story in relation to Arsenal that I also want to touch on today is Bruno G. Now, I know this would have been discussed last night with KJ, but a number of reports that came out yesterday in relation to the scenario with Bruno G, and that the deal was now advancing and club-to-club talks were in place. Inevitably, the Newcastle press came out and said that, again, this is, and I'm paraphrasing it here to boil it down, but that isn't true, that isn't happening, the deal isn't any closer. To which I just don't believe all the other journalists are lying. We also now know how this is being operated. It's an intermediary, Kia, the super agent, is talking to somebody very senior at Newcastle, and once they have an agreement in that regard in place, then official conversations will take place. But it was stated yesterday, it was claimed yesterday that those talks are now advancing. And I can't say anybody is surprised by this. I can't say anybody is shocked by the idea that this deal is now moving forward due to how long Arsenal have been working on this, the players' clear desire to join Arsenal Football Club. So I don't think this is a shock to anybody. It feels to me like one of those deals that at any point soon you're going to see a bomb from Ornstein saying that things are now in the final stages, or a here we go soon type update from Fabrizio. That feels like it's sort of inevitable. And interesting, the more I see the Newcastle press kind of double down, the more I see them act as though this isn't going to happen, the more I'm inclined to believe that it is. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just my bias, I suppose, within this story. Because I'm honest with you, I do have a bit of an issue with the way some of the Newcastle press, not the fans, but the press report on things. I find that they're often a little bit over the top, because it says here on TalkSport, Arsenal in advanced talks with Newcastle over Bruno D transfer after 3 verbal offers. But then what's trending on X for me is one of the 2 most trending topics on X for me are Arsenal step up pursuit of Newcastle captain, and the second one is Arsenal's push for Bruno Guimarães met with Newcastle denials. So it's such an interesting one that you've got like Luke Edwards here saying, not according to Newcastle, they ain't. And it's a constant push again and again. But my view is I don't think the people that Arsenal are talking to Luke Edwards. And I mean that with all due respect to the man. He's obviously a very, very credible journalist within that area, knows a lot of people. But I just don't think he's sitting there and having the conversations that Kira is having with them at this point. Ben Jacobs saying that Arsenal are advancing in their talks with Bruno Guimarães as well. So, look, I wouldn't be surprised. By the time I'm actually recording this at sort of UK time around about 7 a.m. So by the time this comes out, the deal might already have been done. That's how close it personally feels to me. I'm not in the know, though. I'm only reading the news. Give me your views on it. Give me your opinions on it in that comment section below. By the way, people, if you haven't done it yet, get yourselves liking the video, get yourselves subscribing as well. Up next, I want to talk a little bit about Vinicius Jr. Gary Cottrell yesterday, a very respected South American correspondent, although he did accuse Vinicius Jr. of lying about the situation last year against Benfica. So I don't know how much of that respect he's still got in South America. Anyone who follows South American football with far more interest than me, let us know. But he sort of stated yesterday that the headline was Vinicius Jr. stays. Real Madrid have no intention of staying. There were some other reports yesterday that we spoke about in the morning. They were going to increase that offer. There's further reports that the total package for Arsenal was going to be £175 million fee, agent fees, and of course wages. There were then some other reports from Spain, though. This is what's very interesting. Gary Cottrell, not denying his credentials at all, that have said nothing is resolved yet. Real Madrid are not going to increase their offer. The player is still deliberating. What they did corroborate is what Gary Cottrell said, that but in terms of there's ongoing talks and they're going to be discussing things soon. But they have a different take. The Spanish are saying that Real Madrid will sell if the player doesn't renew, where Gary Cottrell was alluding to the fact that they may keep him even if he doesn't sign a new deal. So I think it's really important to remember that. I don't think this deal is a case closed yet, but as I've said all along, the chances of him signing a new deal, the chances of him either getting what he wants or Real Madrid conceding or him signing with what he's already been offered, I think that for me personally, I think it's already quite close. Is like quite likely. 80-odd% chance, I think, that he stays at Real Madrid. I think most Arsenal fans know that. Nobody else, again, I don't want to disrespect Gary Cottrell and what he does and who he is, but no other journalists yet, no top journalists yet have come out and said that the deal is done and he's going to be staying at Real Madrid. But we will obviously see. The other story in relation to Arsenal that I also want to touch on today is Bruno G. Now, I know this would have been discussed last night with KJ, but a number of reports that came out yesterday in relation to the scenario with Bruno G, and that the deal was now advancing and club-to-club talks were in place. Inevitably, the Newcastle press came out and said that, again, this is, and I'm paraphrasing it here to boil it down, but that isn't true, that isn't happening, the deal isn't any closer. To which I just don't believe all the other journalists are lying. We also now know how this is being operated. It's an intermediary, Kia, the super agent, is talking to somebody very senior at Newcastle, and once they have an agreement in that regard in place, then official conversations will take place. But it was stated
Liverpool are set to open talks with PSG over the potential signing of Bradley Barcola. After preliminary talks with his representatives, Liverpool have prepared an opening offer and are set to make an official approach. The winger has been a priority area for Liverpool ever since Mo Salah's departure. The 23-year-old has 2 years left in his PSG contract and has indicated he will not be signing a new one amid frustrations and a lack of game time. The opportunity to join Liverpool is said to appeal to the player. However, he's valued £145 million.
Welcome back. We've got some breaking news for you from Brentford, who are closing in on an agreement with Lens for Mamadou Sangare worth around £41 million. Discussions in the advanced stages, and Brentford are pushing to sign him ahead of other clubs. With Jordan Henderson in the process of completing a move to Chelsea, Brentford are keen to advance on signing a new central midfielder. They've long tracked the development of Sangare. He's considered one of the best midfield talents in France. Brentford closing in on an agreement with Lens then for Mamadou Sangare worth around £41 million. We'll keep you across any developments there.
Brentford are closing in on what could become one of the biggest signings in the club's history, with fresh reports suggesting an agreement is now within reach for Mamadou Sangare. The Bees are believed to be in advanced discussions with Lens over a deal worth around £41 million, signalling another huge statement of intent as they continue preparing for the new Premier League season. Over the last few seasons, Brentford have earned widespread respect for their intelligent recruitment strategy. Rather than competing financially with the Premier League's biggest clubs, the Bees have consistently identified talented players before they become household names. That approach has helped them establish themselves as one of England's most well-run clubs, and Mamadou Sangare appears to be the latest player capable of continuing that success story. Sangare has attracted growing attention across Europe thanks to his commanding midfield displays. His physical presence, ability to recover possession, composure under pressure and willingness to drive the ball forward have made him one of the most exciting young midfielders on the market. Those qualities have naturally caught Brentford's attention as they look to strengthen one of the most important areas of the pitch. The reported £41 million valuation underlines just how highly both clubs rate the player. Brentford are not known for spending huge sums unless they are convinced a player can make an immediate impact while also offering long-term value. If the agreement is completed, Sangare would become another major investment in the club's future. One of the biggest reasons behind Brentford's interest is tactical flexibility. Sangare has shown he can operate in different midfield roles, whether shielding the defence, breaking up opposition attacks or carrying possession through the middle of the pitch. That versatility would provide Brentford with additional options against different opponents throughout a demanding Premier League campaign. Supporters are already imagining how he could transform the team's midfield. His energy, strength and ability to win second balls would give Brentford greater control in difficult matches, while his composure in possession could help the team build attacks more effectively from deep areas. Of course, negotiations are rarely straightforward. Even when clubs move close to an agreement, important details still need to be finalised before a transfer can be completed. Personal terms, medical examinations and the final structure of the deal all remain key parts of the process. That's why supporters will continue following every update until an official announcement is made.